It's so important. If you believe in him, you have to act it. Your sickness does not change your person. Your condition does not change your person. If you have no money, it doesn't mean that you're no longer a person. You still have your self-value.
Money is not the basis of human value, but their trust and confidence in God. Nothing needs to be added to that statement.
Your personality, your ego is still there. And that's the reason you feel it. I don't mean feel it physically. I mean, that's the reason it troubles you. That's the reason sometimes you feel ashamed. Is that you? But here's the point. If you believe in Jesus Christ, how so far in your life have you demonstrated it? A man has been in a church for years, a Christian. He has never demonstrated his believing in God. Then he falls sick. Do you think prayer will heal him? It's unlikely. A man who has never demonstrated his faith in God and has been a Christian, prayer cannot heal him. It is only the demonstration of his faith in God that will save him. I told you to read something. In Matthew chapter 6 verse 21, he said, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Where is the man's treasure? His treasure has been in the house he's building. His treasure has been in the next business he wants to open. Watch it. He's a Christian. His treasure has been in the holidays he wants to spend in Hawaii. His treasure has been in setting up something for the future for his children. Where is his treasure? His treasure is in politics. His treasure has been distributed to all those things. Where do you think his heart is? Jesus has nailed it right there. He says the man's heart will be where his treasure is. So even though he has been in church for years, his treasure is not in God. Which means his heart is not in God. If your heart is not in God, your faith is not in God. If trouble strikes, it is not in God. If trouble strikes, no amount.
The location of your treasure is the focus of your heart. As part of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus teaches us one of the most important lessons of desire and wealth. He distinguishes between earthly and heavenly treasure. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 21. What does this mean? It means that whatever we focus on dictates our behaviors and actions. When we focus on worldly success and riches, that will be the focus of our time, energy, and resources. However, when we focus on God's priorities, our attitudes and actions will reflect those priorities. It goes without saying that earthly priorities and successes are fleeting and temporary, while heavenly rewards last forever. The question is, what is motivating you? Why are you a Christian? Is it for the miracles, for the money, or to meet people, because those things are all good only if your overall intention is to honor God. Some people, including Christians, live for power, prestige, and public approval. But these things are fleeting and ultimately pointless. They come and they can be gone in an instant. It is not a sin to be rich, but your heart follows your investment. If you are rich and consider your wealth as a service to God, you will use what you have in ways that have eternal significance, thus protecting your heart from the love of money. Only those whose treasures are in heaven are not controlled by their possessions.
It used to be an old man with revelations only, never went to school, that gave them the laws and the regulations. Now, his great-grandchildren who have gone to the university have written books, and they are delivering the books in coded languages. It is now more sophisticated. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? It has changed, but it's the same devil. You need to know what you're up against in life. Life is not just as simple as you're seeing it. Somebody says, I just want an easy life. There is none. There is none. The Bible says that the adversary, the devil, walketh about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour.
Pastor Chris is right, of course. Satan has moved from deception with fruits as he did during the times of Adam and Eve, or the raising of giants as he did in the times of Noah, to a much more subtle and sophisticated approach. I have an educational background in psychology. I have always wondered the correlation between psychological problems and demonic possessions. There are those who believe that what the ancient Christians referred to as demons now manifests itself as anxiety disorders, depression, bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even schizophrenia, to mention just a few. For thousands of years, demonic possessions were widely accepted explanations for disturbed behavior, or what we now know as psychological disorders. Satan has transformed the manifestation of demonic expression into psychological problems. Whether you agree with this or not, one thing is clear. The question is not whether Satan is involved in mental disorders. Rather, it is a question of how he is involved. Let's use the example of dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. This disorder is characterized by switching to alternate identities. You may feel the presence of two or more people talking or living inside your head, or you may feel as though you are possessed by other identities. Does that not remind you of the story of Jesus casting the legion of demons into a herd of pigs found in Matthew? What I'm saying to you is this: just as you would watch out for demons, you should also watch out for creeping psychological or mental health disorders. Do not let it take root before dealing with it. If you are already experiencing any form of mental health disorder, seek help very quickly. The problem could have spiritual dimension more than you may realize.
Sometimes I've seen people with cancer grown so big. How did it start? I said, it was like a mosquito bite. You'd be amazed. I scratched it. The next thing I knew, it was like a boil. I tried to treat it. It got bigger. Before long, it was bigger and then bigger. Became like an egg. I went to the doctor. They said I have to have an operation. They cut it. It grew larger. Today it's larger than the head. These things are not ordered by themselves. They are not ordered by themselves. And that's one reason you have to be careful who you marry. You have to be careful. If you're already married, don't try to come out. You're already in there. Can help you come out. You come out of the problem, not out of the marriage now. But you have to be careful. Walking in.
I am glad that Pastor Chris made this caveat. I'm wondering how many people attribute their problems to their spouses. After listening to some supposed men of God, many have become convinced that their wife is their problem. It could be their husband, but the woman is usually to blame, unfortunately. It is very important for us to understand that the people that God put in our lives are not perfect, just like us, but they can be a source of good. But just as equally, they can also be a source of trouble if we allow Satan to get in our midst. Watch out for your spouse. Pray for them. Good begets good. Instead of pointing accusing fingers, take the log out of thine eyes before attempting to remove the splinter in your wife's eyes. Ask yourself if your behavior or attitude is the best you can do. Trust me, when you ask that question, it won't take long for you to realize the answer is no. You certainly can do better. Fix yourself and your wife will fix herself. Fix yourself and your husband will do the same.